Weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. Just like Petridge Farm, a butterfly remembers what you did to it as a caterpillar. Now, metamorphosis in moths and butterflies is one of the most mysterious processes in nature. A caterpillar hatches out of a little egg and just eats everything in sight for a while, gets nice and fat, and then it builds itself a little cocoon, which is like a barrel, and like dissolves itself in acid, sort of like it's a serial killer trying to dispose of its own body. It turns into this like liquefied goop inside of this cocoon, and then the goop unliquefies itself into the shape of a butterfly or a moth. Then it crawls out and goes on a Mexican vacation sometimes, which is a process we're all pretty familiar with, but it's freaking bonkers if you think about it. Because these two creatures, which are the same creature, basically have nothing in common. Their body structures are completely different, their diets are completely different, one can freaking fly. Like, they're two completely different creatures, yet they're still the same creature. Like, if we didn't know that they did this and you put a caterpillar and a butterfly next to each other, we would classify them as completely different species. But we do know that they do this. We know that they go into a cocoon in one form and come out in a completely different form, and we know that there's not much physical tie between those two forms. So that's not really the mind-boggling part. However, it would be a little mind-boggling to imagine butterflies or caterpillars, or really any insect for that matter, having the ability to learn and remember things. But it turns out caterpillars can actually learn things. And we know this because scientists put a bunch of caterpillars in a Y-shaped enclosure. On one side of the enclosure, they added the stuff from nail polish that makes it smell like nail polish. And on the other side of the enclosure, they just had regular, unaltered air. Now, caterpillars normally don't care about the smell of nail polish. They will be around it, and it doesn't affect them. Apparently, their tear ducts are a little less sensitive than mine. I'm kidding. They don't have tear ducts. At least I don't think they do. So then when the caterpillars went towards the nail polish side, they gave them a very mild electrical shock. After that happened, 78% of the caterpillars would avoid the nail polish smell. So apparently, they can learn and remember to avoid things that are unpleasant. But of course, when they go through their Breaking Bad body disposal process to become a butterfly, their melted minds must forget everything they learned as a caterpillar, right? Wrong! 77% of those butterflies would also avoid the nail polish smell, which would suggest that they remembered the unpleasant experience of getting a little zap when they were exposed to that smell as a caterpillar. It doesn't seem like it stops there, though, because a caterpillar's behavior, diet, and experiences all seem to affect its color, strength, behavior, and mating habits as a butterfly. Like, what butterflies eat can make their colors brighter or darker. And darker butterflies are stronger. They can fly further. Why? We don't know, but they can. Migratory monarchs have darker wing coloring than non-migratory monarchs. And diet seems to affect that coloring, but also it doesn't, because you can starve a caterpillar for a few days and that doesn't seem to affect the coloring. Which also didn't seem to make much sense because, you know, a caterpillar eats constantly and it's just storing up all of that energy and material to become a butterfly. So if a diet affected how that butterfly would perform as a butterfly, you'd think that not feeding it for a couple days would make it a less performance-enhanced butterfly. But I guess it doesn't, and we don't know why. And it's crazy that moths and butterflies and caterpillars are so freaking common, and yet so much about them is still a mystery. But the facts that moths and monarchs maintain their memory even as Metamorphosis mutates them into mucus, well, that is pretty mind-boggling.